Hello, this video is part of a series of resources for commercial Texas property owners. I'm Pat O'Connor with O'Connor & Associates, and the topic for today's video is how should deferred maintenance be considered in coming to the proper taxable value for your property? And the correct answer is the property should be valued as though there were no deferred maintenance, and then the cost of deferred maintenance should be deducted to come up with the current as-is value of the property. This is the correct appraisal process. Some appraisal districts take a different approach and say, well, we don't consider deferred maintenance because we've already given you a replacement reserve. They've given you a replacement reserve. But the replacement reserve is just to maintain the property. It doesn't cure deferred maintenance. So some of the items that we might consider for deferred maintenance are, say you own an apartment complex and the exterior paint is peeling. Well, that's going to have to be replaced. So the cost of replacing the paint should be deducted from the value of the property as though we're in good condition. And if you're having to replace the exterior paint, there's a good chance that you're also going to have to replace some rotten wood. And once again, that cost should be considered. Another item is roofs. The cost of replacing roofs can be $2 to $5 per square foot of roof area. It's a huge cost. So if you have roofs that you're repairing regularly, the cost of replacing those roofs should be considered in valuing your property for property tax purposes. Another concern is HVACs, and whether it's the small units at an apartment complex or the big units at a commercial property, the chiller units, if those units need to be replaced, that cost should be considered. Another factor to consider that's a little different is obsolete space. So let's say you have a high-rise office building with 3 or 4 stories of clear space. There's no walls. It's just wall to wall from one end of the building to the other end of the building, but in a concrete floor. Well, that space is going to be almost impossible to lease in its current condition. So the cost of putting tenant improvements in place to make the space leasable should be considered. Another factor is flooring. If you have flooring that is tattered and needs to be replaced, or parts of the building with no flooring, those costs should be considered. And then finally, parking lot repair. Whether it's an asphalt parking lot that needs a new overlay, or perhaps it just needs a seal coat, or perhaps it's a concrete parking lot and you need to saw cut and replace parts of the parking lot. Those costs can be considerable, and they need to be accounted for in valuing the property. So again, the process is value the property as though there were no deferred maintenance, calculate the cost of deferred maintenance and deduct that, and that will give you the as-is value of the property, which is the proper taxable value for property taxes. And to get ready for your appraisal district hearing, you should consider doing 2 things. One is getting photographs of the deferred maintenance, and the second is getting bids for the cost to cure the deferred maintenance. And those items should be considered in valuing your property for property tax purposes. To find out if you're fairly taxed, go to the Texas Fairness Checker at cutmytaxes.com. It's free, and in less than a minute, you'll find out if you're fairly taxed or not. This is Pat O'Connor with O'Connor & Associates. Thanks for joining, and we'll be back soon with another set of tips.